Good morning, everybody. I'm Judy Prouty. This is Wholly Devoted to You. And on Monday, we just do a real short little thought for the week. And I wanted to share a passage with you guys this morning from 1 Samuel chapter 20. And this is about David and Jonathan. And we talked about them, I think, last week or the week before. But in verse 18, then Jonathan said to David, "Tomorrow is the new moon festival, and you will be missed because your seat will be empty," meaning at the table. "When you have stayed for 3 days, go down quickly and come to the place where you hid yourself on that eventful day when my father was trying to kill you. And stay by the stone Ezel, and I will shoot 3 arrows to the side of it as though I shot at a target. And I will send a young man saying, 'Go find the arrows.' If I specifically say to the boy, 'Look, the arrows are on this side of you, get them, then come back to my father's table. For it's safe for you and there's no danger, as the Lord lives.' But if I say to the boy, 'Look, the arrows are beyond you,' then go, for the Lord has sent you away." Jonathan and David had a beautiful friendship, and Jonathan was King Saul's son, and King Saul had been trying to kill David. David was God's anointed for that position of king, and Jonathan knew this. And so Jonathan had David's back and protected his life from his own father. And my point today is, what would have happened to David without Jonathan's help? He probably would have been, eventually he would have been killed by Saul. And how would that have changed history? David is in the lineage of Jesus. And so, Jonathan may not have known at that time how serious this was, this act that he was carrying out for David. He didn't know exactly what God's plans were for David, other than he was anointed to be king. But he didn't see years from now that David would be in the lineage of Jesus, and how that would have affected the entire world if David's life had been snuffed out. But he knew what was right to do at that moment, and that was to protect God's anointed. And so Jonathan was a history maker, a history changer. And I want to ask you today, what is God speaking to you about? Because I believe he's speaking to all of us about something. Maybe he's calling on us to protect somebody that is one of his anointed. Or maybe it's, not something as life and death as the situation was with Jonathan and David. It might be something more simple, like making a phone call to encourage somebody. You don't know what they may be going through in their life. Or just going to somebody's house for a visit. There are all kinds of things and all kinds of ways that God uses us with other people, and a simple conversation can mean so much. Probably about 50 years ago, I had a neighbor who lived next door to me, and I went out to take my trash out one day, and she was putting her 3 little kids in the car. And when I went to talk to her, she was leaving. She was leaving her husband. And we stood out in that driveway and had a conversation together. And we got to pray together, and there were other people also who spoke into her life. But she passed away last year, and when I was at her funeral, there were hundreds of people there to thank her husband that she had stayed with for being such a part of her life, because she ended up, as a couple, they ministered together. She wrote books. that ministered to people. She had an amazing life. And I'm just saying today, God is looking for people to be history makers and history changers. Think about that this week. Have a great week. God bless you.